Eagles defense suffocates the Chiefs.
Oh.
It was, and we've gone about it all morning long. Jalen Hurts is very deserving. But that performance that they put on last night through 3 quarters against the Chiefs, there's not an amount of money that I could have bet that said this would have been the outcome. Now, I did have the Eagles to win, but not like this. This was total domination, and you don't see this. I don't know if you've seen a game like this all year long where a team physically, emotional, psychologically dominated a team like the Chiefs got dominated last night.
And tonight we got takeaways from the Super Bowl with Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe. And I'm going to throw some of my 2 cents in here, but enough of me. Let me get to the video clip, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, guys. And what did you think about the Super Bowl? Let me know below.
What's your biggest headline from the game?
Well, that's kind of how everybody is, speechless. Because if you watched the Super Bowl last night, it should have been called the Super Bowl. It should have been called the Toilet Bowl, because that was one of the worst Super Bowls I've ever seen. Probably the worst Super Bowl I have seen since the Broncos and Seattle Seahawks, or even back to 1995 with the San Francisco 49ers taking on the San Diego Chargers. It was bad last night. I didn't see Patrick Mahomes act like that ever.
Eagles defense suffocates the Chiefs.
Oh.
It was, and we've gone about it all morning long. Jalen Hurts is very deserving. But that performance that they put on last night through 3 quarters against the Chiefs, there's not an amount of money that I could have bet that said this would have been the outcome. Now, I did have the Eagles to win, but not like this. This was total domination, and you don't see this. I don't know if you've seen a game like this all year long where a team physically, emotional, psychologically dominated a team like the Chiefs got dominated last night. You're talking about a historically great quarterback, one of the all-time great head coaches, and we know what Spags does defensively, and it wasn't even close.
Yeah, it was pretty much a joke and a blowout. Even in the second quarter, you even felt this game slipping away. And I told everybody on my Instagram channel, that's New York Minute, NEWYRKMIN, to take the Chiefs, bet their house on the Chiefs. So if anyone lost their house, I'm not a professional gambler, so I don't know what to tell you.
That performance, and what Jalen Hurts said, Stephen, he said he built the last. They're going to be here for a minute now. They're going to be here for a minute because they got Jalen Hurts on an easy contract.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
They got Mitchell is a rookie. Carter is a rookie. They got an offensive line sewn up for the foreseeable future. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, they signed.
This is the problem, though, with all the Super Bowl breakdowns is like the team that wins the Super Bowl, in everybody's eyes, is going to win the next 5 Super Bowls in a row because they looked so great when they won the Super Bowl. And Shannon Sharpe's talking like the Eagles are going to be here again. They're a very good team, mind you. But getting back to the Super Bowl is tough. Kansas City Chiefs just did it 3 times in a row, and they weren't able to do the three-peat. But the way that the Philadelphia Eagles are able to get the Saquon Barkleys and the Brown wide receivers of the world is the fact that they draft and they hit on every single draft pick. So they can spend that money on the quarterback, on a wide receiver, on a running back, because you need to build from the core out. That's the opposite of what my team, the Jets, do.
And Saquon, they're going to be here for a minute. Bar an injury, I'm not surprised if Eagles don't repeat what we just saw.
To that sentiment, before you jump in, we're going to talk about dynasty a little later in the show, both the Kansas City Chiefs and the Eagles and where they're headed. Stephen A.?
Let me tell you something right now. This was an annihilation. It was a beatdown. Good Lord have mercy. It almost got to a point where a mercy rule should have been invoked. They were down 34-0. And I want to put it in its proper perspective on this level, all right, guys? The Eagles didn't pass midfield until the last few minutes of the third quarter. Their first 9 drives into the third quarter, 6 punts, 2 interceptions, 1 turnover on downs. 12 of Kansas City's 13 offensive drives went for 5 plays or fewer. No drive exceeded 4 plays in the first half. Wow. Okay? Obviously, Mahomes was sacked the career high 6 times.
And let me know in the comments below, do you think something was going on behind closed door with the Chiefs in the week leading up to this game, because if you think back to the Oakland Raiders Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl with the John Gruden Super Bowl, when the center from the Oakland Raiders went AWOL because the head coach of the Raiders decided to change their game plan last minute, and he had a breakdown and went AWOL. So I'm not saying that this happened, but this Chiefs team looks so distracted or on another planet. That was there any internal strife going on with this team? If you think so, let me know in the comments below. Or if you think I'm crazy, let me know that too.
Times, all right. Philly won the battle of possession. And then we got to look at this. Patrick Mahomes in this regard. 2 Super Bowl losses have been by a combined 40 points. And only he and John Elway, they're the only quarterbacks in the history of football who have lost 2 starts by 18 or more points.
Yeah.
Now we got to associate this stuff with, which is unthinkable. We never thought we'd associate anything of this ilk to Patrick Mahomes.
And before the game, everybody was saying, is he better than Tom Brady if he wins this game? Is he in the same conversation? Is he the best? Is he the GOAT? That's why I think these GOAT conversations shouldn't happen when people are actually playing. They should wait until after they're done playing. It's like seeing what a president's policies do. You can't see it while he's president. You can only see it about 4 to 8 years afterwards. So, and also like Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus, they thought Tiger Woods was going to break all of his records. Tiger Woods started to break down and didn't even come close to the records. And Tiger Woods is considered one of the greatest golfers of all time. So this isn't a bag on Mahomes. But when you're put in the same category as John Elway, I'm old enough to live and watch John Elway play. He was known as a guy that couldn't win the big one until later in his career when he got Terrell Davis and won 2 Super Bowls.
But that's how bad it is. And I know the Eagles' defense was elite. DeJean and his pick 6 and everything. I get that part. But Sweat and those brothers on that defensive front 4, I mean, they just straight up punked and beat down the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs, as Dan Orlovsky pointed out, you talked about it being when they were down 17-0. I saw it in the first 5 minutes. They were demoralized. They were like, I don't know what we can be able to do with this.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was that bad.
RC?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, you could see that they were shell-shocked. I've never seen Patrick Mahomes have happy feet like that in a game before. That's why I said, is there something else going on with this team? Because they looked like they didn't even want to be on the field. And these guys have their feet up at the end of the game when they're down by 6 points, and they know that they're going to win. Patrick Mahomes was 7-0, down 6 points in the fourth quarter in his career, and came back to win the game. Tom Brady's 3-7. Drew Brees is 2-6. The greatest of all time are below 500 when it comes to that. And Patrick Mahomes completely blew it last night. But actually, you can't blame it on him because it looked like he was playing against the Philadelphia Eagles by himself. The offensive line did not show up. I don't know. Did a stomach flu run through there? What do you think the Chiefs' problem was last night? Or do you think the Eagles were just that good? Philadelphia Eagle fans, let me know in the comments below.
My headline would be Nick Sirianni did the job the best that he could while it was still his job. We talked, the media, maybe never in the building, about was Nick Sirianni the right coach for the Philadelphia Eagles? We would look at some of his sideline antics and critique him and speak of some of the ways it didn't seem his behavior was becoming of a head coach. There was so much tension, it seemed, in the offseason between him and his quarterback. We watched defensive line coaches stand up in front of him in between he and Jalen Carter when they were having heated arguments. And the man...
I know it's not a big deal, but does anybody else hate Ryan Clark's pendant on his suits, the RC? I hope RC Cola sues him because, I mean, it's a brooch, man. A guy wearing a brooch. What do you think about Ryan Clark's brooch on his lapel? Do you like it or do you think it's awful? Because I think this guy literally is sniffing his own farts on a regular basis and he's drinking his own Kool-Aid.
And just kept coaching. And even though you have to give credit to Vic Fangio, you have to give credit to Kellen Moore, we have to give credit to Nick Sirianni, to his leadership, to continuing to get these guys to play with all-out effort each and every snap. I think there are certain teams that we give credit to the head coach, and then there are other teams that our perception of the head coach keeps us from being able to say, job well done. And so for me, for Nick Sirianni, he believed in who he was.
Nick Sirianni just beat the best defensive coordinator, the best head coach, and the best quarterback of the last 5 years. And Andy Reid and Spags now is at the higher up echelon of coaching in history. So the Philadelphia head coach needs to be considered as the or one of the best, like a Sean McVay type in the NFL. Philadelphia fans, let me know, what do you feel about your head coach? Does he get the respect that he deserves, or do you think that he gets disrespect all over the place for no reason?
He believed in his leadership. I believed he learned and adjusted as the season went on. And because of that, he's been rewarded with the Lombardi Trophy. This dude's been to 2 Super Bowls in the last 3 years. And I think we speak of most coaches who accomplish those goals and accomplish or have those achievements in a very different way than we do Nick Sirianni. So all credit to him and the way that he led this team this year.
Well, there you have it. Jalen Hurts disrespected. Saquon Barkley let go by the Giants, disrespected. Sirianni, the head coach, disrespected. What did they do? They came into New Orleans and they punched the Kansas City Chiefs right in the mouth and said that you're not going to intimidate us and that we are pissed off that everyone is talking about the three-peat and not talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. But I will tell you something that everyone's talking about, this YouTube channel. Give us a subscribe. Also, go over to Instagram, New York Minute, NEWYRKMIN on Instagram. Funny memes, hot takes, reposts. We have Yankees talk, Jets talk, New York talk. We have all sports talk. If you love sports, New York Minute Sports Show and New York Minute on Instagram is the place to be. And I'm going to have these shows and our podcast.